cricket player was I was never nervous because I was nervous. I was never worried about the result because my preparation always 100%. And that's what you got to focus on as cricket players and as coaches and as parents. What was the process? Were they practicing hard, not just long? Were they practicing smart, not just practicing harder? Were they practicing like it was a match situation? So focusing on the process in any sport or anything that they're doing, more than focusing on the result, takes a bit of pressure off you when the ball goes up in the sky. So that's a key for me.
Yeah, and we have a bunch of coaches here and fantastic young cricketers. In terms of planning a session, you know, lots of sessions are managed as nets where there's bowlers running in and batsmen playing for a few, maybe 15 or 20 minutes and then moving on. How do you reformulate nets to be more participative, and how does a session get planned to integrate fielding into every single session? What are the opportunities from a net, and are there drills one can do even when someone's batting in a net and you're working on your anticipation?
Sure.
Or is it always drills sort of that are separate from a net?
I think it's difficult once the net starts. And what Ryan and I do and what the coaches have been amazing with is that a part of the warm-up, we incorporate drills that are actually cricket drills without the boys even knowing it. So, you know, it's changing direction, it's movement, it's anticipation, it's awareness. It's about doing fielding drills without them actually thinking like I'm at a fielding practice. Then what you can do is that in the net you have a live net. So it's difficult for the fielding part, but what you can do, because for us, talking about that one run making a difference or one run winning the game, the easiest way to get one, not just the ball out the ground for 6, is to steal a run. So if you have a live net, you have 2 batsmen batting together in the net situation, but you've got cones. Because I used to practice with Pat Simcox, and whenever he bowled, no matter where I hit the ball, there were 10 Jonty Rhodeses. Wicketkeeper or 9 Jonty Rhodes. There was never a single. Save, no run, no run, no run. So you put a cone, a marker down in the nets, and there's a gap. Because what you want the players to do is not just defend, 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 and then hit. Because too often they know they've got only 10 minutes of batting. So the first 5 balls they face, now they want to show the coach and themselves what they can do. So they don't play the correct shot to the correct ball. Shot selection, if it's bad, you often get out. You know, so I think once the nets start, it's difficult to have the fielding, but at the beginning, and then you can focus on 10 minutes of just cover catches, 10 minutes of just high balls, 10 minutes, because if it's an hour or half an hour at the end of a long net session, not going to happen. So it's important to be able to mix it up. So maybe today just the top 5 batsmen bat, and we spend half an hour fielding. Tomorrow the other guy's back. You mix it up. I mean, these guys, it's amazing. Every time we arrived at the ground, at the facility, they were children playing. You know, in the nets, with bowlers, as a team, there were just cricket players everywhere. I mean, like underfoot, they were like ants. They really were. So it was great to see. So, you know, obviously players spending lots of time here. There's great facilities, great coaching staff. But how do you incorporate the fielding? You do the drills when you warm up, which is improving your fielding. In the nets, you have a live net. So the players learn to hit the ball in the gap, look for singles. And then you say, okay, last 15 minutes, all of us come, we're just going to work today on high catches or just work on a specific drill. Because then we're all doing it and we're all doing it 100%.
And just looking at skills and non-skills fitness, how much fitness work did you do when you were sort of at your peak and working towards your peak as a youngster? How much of gym work, how much of sort of core work? Was it sort of packaged in the skills drills, or was there separate work that you did over the years?
I hate to tell you, so I have to be very honest, is that we were the first team to get a fitness trainer with us, which was only in 1996. So there was a World Cup that Pakistan, Sri Lanka, India hosted in 1996. So we've been playing for 4 years. And the only fitness that we did was running fitness. So we did shuttle work, which the captain, we had Captain Wessels, then Hansi Cronje, 2 of the fittest guys in world cricket. So we were in deep trouble, really deep trouble. But the fortunate thing for me is that I was a hockey player. So I came from 6 months of hockey straight into cricket season. I was always one of the fittest guys, and running was never a problem, because as a hockey player, that's what you did the whole time.
Minutes, yeah.
For 70 minutes of the game, and every practice was 2 or 3 hours. Every drill you did was involved running. So fitness for us was not very specific. Whereas now you've got bowlers, spin bowlers, fast bowlers, different training. Batsmen, wicket keepers, different training. From a fielding point of view, it's agility, because I can teach a player to catch the ball. I can't teach him how to get there. So movement is important from a fielding point of view. Thanks. So from that perspective, we never really had very specific training. From 97, 98, it got more specialized. in what your job in the team was, what you're requiring. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the time, the fitness is actually recovery. Because if you overload players and overload youngsters, by the end of the season, they are history. So a lot of what we did was recovery. So you train hard, but you recover. So guys, stretching. You know, we talk about taking ownership. It's the last thing you feel like doing at the end of the day, but it helps. It's part of the recovery. It's part of your training process. You know, there's great facilities here, whether it's an ice bath or a cool down. Tomorrow when you practice, you've recovered faster than than players who didn't stretch. So our fitness program was never anything around a gym or a training. It was just about fitness and cardiovascular endurance fitness. And as a hockey player, as I said, it really was too easy for me.
But for your youngsters of today, Jonty, I mean, there's so much access, right? There's fantastic gyms, both here as well as at other places. Let's say you are an average fielder and want to become a great fielder. Obviously, there are drills, but what else forms the package of moving, upgrading as a fielder, if I may?
Well, talking about moving up, what moves you up as a fielder, and it is your movement. So it's not about gym work, because if you go to the gym, unless you're doing gym, you're doing sort of plyometrics, you're jumping. Because I had a nickname in the South African, or I had a few nicknames, you can imagine. There's 15 men who were boys really, traveling 8 months of the year. We had a few nicknames. But jumping, Jonty was one of them.
Yeah.
So, what makes you a better fielder is being able to get to the ball. So the reason why I was a good fielder, that anticipation meant I was to the ball quickly. If half a chance came, I was taking a few of those. So the movement is the key. So it's not about getting faster. Oh, sorry. It is about getting faster. It's about, and not fast over 100 meters, because you never chase a ball for 100 meters. It's the 2 meters or 3 meters left or right, but not from a standing still position to be able to change direction and get, which is why as a hockey player, that was the skill I had.
Yeah, just
running, bending over. So too many of the players, they have to run fast upright. So from that point of view, what makes a better fielder? It's movement. It's fast and explosive movement. I know we're still growing, we're still young players, but the more sports we play, football, badminton, that all requires movement. So even if it's just for fun, if it's part of the drills and the warm-up, play football, play some badminton. Okay, TT, maybe we're standing it, but still, good hand-eye coordination. But anything that gets you moving, it doesn't, and that's the beauty of it, doesn't have to be in the gym. It can be at practice, in the warm-up, as a part of the warm-up.
Jonty, are there any major disappointments? Like, was there any catch
That's all gone.
either catch you dropped or run out you missed, which really stays with you? Anything specific?
Well, the amazing thing is I played in 4 World Cups for South Africa, and we never got to a single final. We had a semi-final in 92, a semi-final in 1999, and never once played in a World Cup final, but no regrets. I mean, I had 4 World Cups over 11 years, because it was my first year and then my last year. And but before I started playing cricket for South Africa, I was a university student studying a Bachelor of Commerce degree. There was no country to play for. So it wasn't even a dream of mine to play for South Africa. Because of apartheid, there was economic and sporting sanctions. So we were not allowed to play internationally. So it wasn't even a dream come true. So from that point of view, just being able to play, no regrets. I also had a scenario where, don't grab it. Yeah. It's time up, eh?
Yeah,
Go home and cook. So from that point of view, things like in the field, I'll give you an example. And I keep talking about the process rather than the result. We played against the West Indies, our first match of the 2003 World Cup, which we hosted in South Africa. And we had spoken about getting off to a good start in the World Cup. And the first game, we lost by 2 runs against the West Indies. And Brian Lara had scored 100. I mean, he's a capable player. He was pretty useful. And I was sitting in the dressing room after the game, and I had my finger in a glass of ice, because my finger was really badly swollen, the tip of my finger. Because Brian Lara, he cuts the ball incredibly hard from close to the stumps. And he had smashed the ball to the boundary, which I dived, and it clipped my finger. It's still gone for 4. He hit it so hard. So I was sitting in the finger in the ice to reduce the swelling, because next day we had practice. I needed my hands to be good. And I was sitting there thinking, man, if only I dived 2 centimeters, that was all it was, 2 centimeters further, because that's the difference between hitting the ball on the end of the finger and hitting the ball in the palm of my hand. Because if I got my palm there, I'm stopping it. And after 10 minutes, because I always gave myself 10 minutes to reflect after a game. If it was good, 10 minutes to feel good, and then pack away your kit and pack away your pride, or pack away your sorrow, because tomorrow is another game. You've got to be on form, and you can't have the regrets. So sitting in the dressing room thinking, man, if I had dived slightly further, I could have stopped that ball. That was the 4 runs that would have won us the game. We would have then won by 2 runs. And after my 10 minutes of feeling sorry for myself, I said, at least I know. I went for the ball. Full stretch, it went past me for 4. If I'd been sitting in the dressing room not needing the ice, packing the bag, thinking, man, that one shot that Lara hit past me, if I had gone for the ball, I wonder if I could have stopped it. So I think the way that I played my career, there were no regrets because I never left anything on the field where I was still wondering, could I have done better? And I think that was the key to an enjoyable career because it never felt like if only I had worked harder or if only I had taken this opportunity or stopped that ball or gone for that ball, maybe I could have stopped it and changed the course of the game. So I don't have any regrets. I don't think you define as a sportsman or woman by the medals that you win. It's about how you play the game. I think it's really, really important. For the young players especially, sportsmanship is a big part, helping out. Ryan and I have worked in Malawi where 6 of the coaching staff there are employed for the first time. Malawi Cricket Union is based in a container, at a school in a container. It is really hot. That's their office. It's a container, like a shipping container. And these 6 coaches, they roll the field, they cut the lawn, they move the stumps, they take the nets out, they take the nets in, they put the stumps out, they put the nets, take the stumps back in again. But these guys are just so grateful to be involved. And it's a great inspiration for all of us who have fantastic facilities. Sometimes we take things for granted, so it's really important that we can make a contribution already, even at age 8, 9, and 10. We can make a difference to the players around us. So that, I think, it's more about what is your career. It's not about the results that you've got, but how did you play the game? And how did you participate and contribute to a part of this community? This 6 community really is incredible. It's unique. It's great to see it. It's an important part of being a successful sportsman or woman is your attitude towards the game, the respect for the game, the respect for the opposition, and the respect for the people who've made sacrifices for you to be here on the sports field.
Jonty, in some sense, I think every great fielder has a little bit of Jonty in them now. So you've left a legacy for other people. But along the way, what are the things you learned from a few other players and that you made a part of you, which perhaps without cricket and without those experiences, you might not have thought of life that way or sort of even cricket that way? Are there any sort of landmark people or experiences that sort of defined you?
Well, I'd like to think I'm a deep thinker, but I can't even pretend to even try and scratch the surface of that. There's nothing that that turned a light on. I was a youngster playing 4 different state sports. So at under 13 level, it was football, it was tennis, it was cricket, and it was hockey, all at state level. Just because, don't forget, apartheid government, only white boys could play for the state, no other race, and we were a minority. So that was a limiting factor to me being a state player, one of the reasons why. But my parents are also teachers. So the interesting thing is that, we've had boys here yesterday saying, why aren't you guys at school? It's an interesting dilemma. What do you focus on? Do you just focus on your cricket? Or you get to a senior stage, you haven't made it so far, so now parents want you to become engineers and doctors, now you just got to study. So life is about balance. And I think from that point of view, I never once had a light switch moment where, wow, that's what I want to do, that's what I want to be, because there was no international sport in South Africa. The irony of me growing up in apartheid era South Africa was, as a football player, I wanted to be like Pele. I really wanted to be, he was my hero, just because of, and there was hardly any football to watch on television then. So it was books. They literally drew pictures of what the guys were doing on the field. But what everybody was talking about, the way that he played the game, the spirit that he had, not just the skill that he had, but the spirit that he had on the field was something that, for me, was an aspiration. So never a case of, these are the players that I'm trying to emulate, because there were no South African cricket players at that stage as a youngster growing up. So again, it was more about learning from other sports, about the sportsmanship, not just about what their skill levels were. The skill levels are not important. It's what are you remembered for, how you played the game. For me, that's a key motivating factor.
Fantastic. Just to end, before we open up to a few audience questions, just having, I don't think you can do an interview with talking about apartheid that you talked about. So you've been participant but also viewer in South Africa's sporting transformation in some sense. Really watching the World Cup a couple of months ago, the Rugby World Cup, and an earlier version of the World Cup. What has sport done for your country, which at the beginning you would have never imagined? In some sense, sitting in Australia in 1992.